We all have our favourite childhood Spider-Man game. In fact, personally, I really like most of the older Spider-Man games. Most of them. Whether your favourite Spider-Man game was Spider-Man 1 in 2002, or Spider-Man 2, or 3, Friend or Foe, Shattered Dimensions, it really does not matter. Spider-Man games have always been a safe bet to be a fun game to get away from the real world. Unless you're Spider-Man Friend or Foe. That game sucks. I'm sorry. But there was always one that stood out to me. Not a movie tie-in game, an open world to explore, a pretty great combat system, and web swinging that was almost as good as Spider-Man 2. And this game was developed in 1 year and 6 months. That game is Spider-Man Web of Shadows. Spider-Man Web of Shadows is one mysterious ass game. It doesn't make any sense as to why it exists apart from Activision milking the Spider-Man game rights while they still had them. Yet, it somehow came out and managed to be one of, if not the best Spider-Man game for some. Despite the criticisms over the years, I still see people talking about Spider-Man Web of Shadows, and with Spider-Man 2 Insomniacs game involving the black suit, I thought now would be the best time to review Web of Shadows. What do you think of Web of Shadows? Did you ever play it? Did you hate it? Did you love it? Let me know. It was great seeing everyone comment about Prototype a few days ago, so let's do it again. What do you think? Let me know. For every positive point I can make for Web of Shadows, another negative comes creeping out. Every badass combo you can pull off leads to a boring QTE that drains you of any fun you were having. For every cool little mission comes a mundane by-the-book mission that bores you half to death. And despite the fantastic casting for some characters, Spider-Man gets the worst.
Okay. I'll do my best.
Shut the fuck up!
Web of Shadows is a controversial game. It released less than 2 years after Spider-Man 3, which did the symbiote suit significantly worse, yet somehow didn't improve on some of the biggest criticisms of Spider-Man 3. Web of Shadows is another story focused on New York being invaded by a parasite, virus, whatever, that turns everyone into little Venom ripoffs, which of course is caused by Venom. Spider-Man is a character that gets placed in a lot of stories that tend to struggle with tone. I mean, look at TASM 2, but Web of Shadows has a tone for Spider-Man that makes no sense, but I kind of love it. This is a dark-ass story. Spider-Man fails most of the time, and if you go down the symbiote suit route, my god, Spider-Man is one evil-ass dude. He rips people in half. But you can't take him seriously because of the casting choice. Peter sounds so obnoxious, man. I'm sorry to the actor because he was clearly directed to do this, but it just doesn't work for this story at all, and for the character in general. He sounds like he's a 12-year-old that is somehow 5'11" or whatever he is. It's really distracting. But everyone else sounds really good, I think. Black Cat has a great voice, Wolverine has his OG casting, which is awesome, and I reckon Insomniacs have hired him again for the role, but personally I kind of want James McCaffrey, who plays Max Payne in Max Payne 3. I think he's really good. I think he'd be a great choice. But basically everyone is good apart from Spider-Man. The actual plot itself is not terrible, but it's dumb. Spider-Man has to stop the alien invasion that is caused by Venom. That is the plot, but they do try to spice up the story with choices. In Web of Shadows, you can choose to be bad. You can start dancing like Tobey Maguire while you play it if you really want to, but these choices are so black and white, it feels forced no matter what you choose. I don't think they should have made the story progress based on which suit you use, but through your actions. In the moment, do you save the civilians or do you focus on the enemies to wipe them out? And that's your choice, which I think would be more natural and interesting, but that's just not the case. The choices here are so black and white, it's like the Goblin choice in Spider-Man 1 on the bridge when Spider-Man has to either choose MJ or save the kids. It's that black and white. Of course, you can't save both like they do in the movie, but you know, that's a movie. And it's a really good one, and it might be the best Spider-Man movie, but I haven't seen Across the Spider-Verse yet, so give me time. Although Into the Spider-Verse is actually the best Spider-Man film. Okay, it just is. It just is. But yeah, the story is just a nothing burger. It doesn't really offer anything new to the character. It just takes what already works from previous stories and made it worse. But I still enjoy it for what it is, mainly because it's hilarious. Web of Shadows weirdly ignores a ton of Spider-Man backstory as well. He doesn't seem to have a job outside of Spider-Man, there's no Daily Bugle, no photography, nothing. It spends so much time putting cameos in for other Marvel characters it forgets to expand Peter's story as well, especially early on. And this isn't a movie tie-in game, this is an original story in an original universe, you know what I mean? So they really should have expanded Peter's story a little bit more. I mean, maybe Spider-Man really is 12 in Web of Shadows, who knows? But yeah, Web of Shadows' greatest strength is its gameplay loop and web swinging, not its story, so let's get into it. First off, the combat system I absolutely adore. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I just love this system. It takes the symbiote suit and actually makes it feel threatening. It feels like an extra superpower for Spider-Man, which is what sucked about Spider-Man 3 the game, because it didn't really do anything new. But here it feels amazing. You have 2 skill trees, one for the red suit and one for the symbiote, each offering their own unique combos and attacks, all of which support different playstyles. Well, 2 really. The symbiote is a really great option for crowd control, and trust me, you do a lot of crowd control here. Whereas the red suit feels a little more nimble. You can come in and out of attacks and web sling your way over with ease, but you got to pick your targets a bit more carefully because you don't have the option to wipe everyone out. Of course, both suits work well for both combat options, but they do some things slightly better than each other, you know what I mean? So it's up to you. Combos and super attacks all feel fantastic to me. I really don't get the criticisms of the system. It feels like the best combat system in a Spider-Man game. Yes, even better than Insomniacs version, but that's just me. And we can't forget how awesome that Web of Shadows exclusive move, Web Strike, spices up the gameplay. You can Web Strike an enemy and then carry it over to another enemy like a game of tag. It is so damn fun, and it needs to return for other Spider-Man games like Insomniac. It's right there, just copy it, please, I beg you. Luckily with the QTEs, you can fail them and just restart them straight away. You don't get punished for failing like Spider-Man 3, which makes them a lot more enjoyable to watch because it really should just be a cutscene, not a QTE. And that goes for Insomniac's version as well. I personally turned QTEs off for Spider-Man 2018 because it looks really good. I don't want to worry about pressing a button when I can just watch this cutscene that's been masterfully crafted, you know what I mean? Enemy variety isn't bad, but it's not great at all, to be honest. You'll be fighting basic goons or symbiote venoms across the map while bumping into the occasional big robot, which you can throw cars at to weaken, but the standouts for me was the flying enemies because it leans into the web strike mechanic that I love so much. You don't just have to web strike them, you can fight them in midair as well with different combos, but web strike them. It's so much fun. Oh, and Web of Shadows also has wall combat. Yes, wall combat. It's not used very often, but when it's there, it feels really cool. I just wish you could smash windows and go into interiors and stuff like that, but that'd just be way too much of a technical problem. The boss fights are pretty cool as well. Most of them are kind of just like normal enemies, but they have extra health, and obviously they have powers and stuff like that, but the standout for me was Electro. The thing is with Web of Shadows is you have multiple boss fights with the same villains, except these villains become symbiote versions of themselves, depending on your choices, and well, some not so much choices, but you know what I mean. And they're really cool. You fight them once and they've got their basic powers, but then they get the venom powers, you know, and they become a bit more powerful, and it becomes really interesting because you have to choose different ways to take them on most of the time. But the standout was Electro because he has this boss fight where you have to take out the venom pods, and then you have to strike him, and then you have to come in while he's got his lightning powers and his like venom powers. It's super cool. I really like it. It's a cool idea, but it's just not expanded on enough. I mean, what I'd really like to see, and I know it can't happen because Warner Bros. Patent this gameplay mechanic, but you know the Nemesis system from Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War. I'd love to see a Spider-Man game based on that, and every time you take out an enemy, or if an enemy takes you out, they get venom powers, venom gives them powers or something, they have like new different moves and stuff like that. I think that'd be really cool, but you know, it'll never happen, but you know, you can think about it, it's cool. Fortunately, the open world is terrible though. You really don't have anything to do. You swing around, collect stuff for swing upgrades, and beat up bad guys, and that's about it. You do have challenges which you can complete for XP bonuses, etc., but they aren't real side missions. In fact, I don't think there are any side missions in Web of Shadows. I did say it was developed in a year and a half, and Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2 had about 10 months, I think it was, so for them to have an open world as well, it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good for a year and a half. On top of that, there is no customization. You can't change suits whatsoever, and the only customization you actually have is your upgrade tree, which is unfortunate. I'm not going to knock it too much because I didn't really think about it until making the review. I was like, wait, there's no suits in this game, but it does suck that it's not there. The web swinging is really good. It really is a close second to Spider-Man 2 for me. Insomniac Spider-Man is number 2, but Web of Shadows is a third for the web swinging quality alone. Web of Shadows has this great sense of speed that none of the other Spider-Man games have ever achieved. You can go as fast as you really want to in this game. In fact, you can go so fast that it crashed Xbox 360s and PS3s back in 2008. The developers clearly wanted you to feel that, you know, since they took away any logic of physics or weight to the system, which is why it's third. Spider-Man just lacks weight here. It does often feel like you're flying more than swinging because it's, you know, it's going that quick, you might as well not swing at all, you might as well just fly. But because of that, you have tons of options for traversal. It's a choice. You can choose what you want to do. You can go flying high to get a better view of the city, or slam straight into a building, stopping your swing. I really wish Insomniac would take the gloves off and do full damage for their Spider-Man games, because because it really lacks that adrenaline feeling of narrowly missing a building since the game just lets you win. That's where these older Spider-Man games get most of their traversal fun from. Insomniacs have absolutely nailed like the smoothness of swinging, but they've lost that, you know, that adrenaline, that feeling you can get from it after a while, you know what I mean? But yeah, the swinging is actually just, I really like it. I know I'll always come back to this game if I can find it online, you know what I mean? Because you can't buy it anymore, unfortunately. But yeah, shorter review today, but I think that's all I have to say about Web of Shadows. Its story is as shallow as Kim Kardashian, yet has the depth of a Quentin Tarantino character for its gameplay. As in, it feels like it has loads of depth till it gets shot halfway through the game, you know what I mean? And you just decide to spam the same attacks. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, go watch another one of my videos, smash that like button and maybe even subscribe. I really appreciate all the support. Channel is growing slowly, it's not as fast as last year, but it's still growing, it's still coming, and we're just gonna do our thing, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you all for watching.